What's best? I'm sure you're back in the video. And today's video is what if Manitoba was in World Tour. So let's begin. Episode 1, Duncan still quits no matter what. And in episode 2, I kind of feel like Manitoba's on Team Victory because you guys voted for it. And I accidentally deleted the poll because I was going through my videos. And I believe Manitoba would be on Team Victory. So that's why he's on Team Victory. So in episode 2, I feel like Manitoba would be really good at this challenge because he's an explorer and he is very good at figuring out things and looking after people. And I feel like in the challenge here, Ezekiel can't lose a camel, so this is just a non-elimination round. So everyone's here with their items. Team Amazon first. Team Chris second, Team Victory third, but it's all completely fine because everyone has their items and what they need to get to the next round. Now, Sierra and Izzy also don't swap teams, since in this version, Cody would have made it before Heather, so he's now on Team Chris, because Sierra's carrying Cody, and there you go. So episode 3 is the commercial episode, and to be honest, Harold would still do his commercial. I don't think Manitoba would really do much for his team, and I think Team Chris and Team Chris do what they do in the original. Now, Team Amazon is where I have an issue because Heather, Gwen, and Courtney all flying out, leaving Izzy and Ezekiel to the commercial, I think would be a disaster, meaning Team Amazon lose the challenge. Now, there are two people who I think are in trouble, and that's Heather and Ezekiel. Heather, because everyone hates her, and Ezekiel, because he said some things that he shouldn't have said in the past. And to be honest, I think everyone would rather get rid of Heather over Ezekiel, considering the fact Ezekiel's only ever done one massive thing wrong. And I should point out that even though Ezekiel might not have been fully aware of what he was doing, Heather is a lot smarter of a player and also highly intelligent and very manipulative. And I feel like Heather is a bigger threat and she's competed in more seasons, where Ezekiel is just a weak ally. And the way you gotta look at this is, would you rather have a good player who can manipulate you that you know is an insane risk, high reward? Heather's an insane risk because she could compromise the team. The high reward is she's good at challenges. Ezekiel is a risk because he may actually... He's not the best at challenges, but to be honest, I think Courtney and Gwen would convince Izzy to vote for Heather. Now, and Izzy herself, whether she would vote with Heather or not, it doesn't really matter. I think because Ezekiel actually tried the challenge, Heather's out here. So episode 4 is the Yukon. Anything Yuck can do, I can do better. So I feel like Manitoba would get there before DJ. And Harold is still here, so that's worth noting as well, that Harold is present in this version. And I think Alejandro would still get Bridget stuck to a pole. I don't think people need different change the things. So Team Amazon get across, and Courtney still pulls for her team. Obviously, Heather's not whipping Courtney now, and Ezekiel does manage to get to his team as well. And Team Victory vote off Bridget, just like in the original. Now, episode 5 is not really important, but it will be important for who wins the meat grind of episode 7. In the original timeline, because Team Chris won it in the original, Heather's not had to swap the cards. I think Team Amazon, Team Chris win it, just like in the original. but it's a non-elimination. 6 is an aftermath, and it's just Bridget talking like in the original and Heather getting annoyed how she was the first boot of the season. Episode 7 is where they have to make the sausages and race down the hill. So Team Chris win, and Team Victor comes second place because they have the second most amount of people. I think Team Amazon will come last because they wouldn't have as many people, so they would do pretty bad here. And since they are the last ones on the hill, they got to do 2 people during the challenge. Not a thing I agree with in the original timeline, but it's faithful. And the people who compete are going to be Lashana, Harold, and DJ. Actually, I think Manitoba would do it instead of DJ because there's more people on the team. I don't think Manitoba would want DJ to hurt an animal. And Alejandro, Tyler, Sierra, and Tyler. Oh, Cody. Cody does it. And then Courtney and Izzy. So Alejandro can't make LaShawn jump off the platform because there's no Heather, and Harold is here to help LaShawna ground herself. Now, Cody gets hit, and I feel like Team Chris win the challenge. So I feel like here, Team Chris and Team Amazon. So I think Team Victory lose the challenge here. And because Lashana would have been distracted at Alejandro, even though I don't think it'd be as bad as the original with Harold being here, I think Manitoba, Lindsay, and DJ vote for Lashana like normal. I think Lashana still goes. Harold might not vote for Lashana, but I think he would in this timeline because he would be fed up with Alejandro. So I think they get rid of Lashana. Episode 8, the Amazon race. Cody's EpiPen is given to Alejandro. They race to the end. TV go left, Talos gets followed. Gwen says now, let's go right. The Amazon lose. Luckily, it's a non-elimination. And probability here, they would have just voted for Ezekiel. In episode 9, can't help falling on Lavu. Sierra still found out with Cody. So their plot is the same, it's just Team Chris. Except Team Chris wouldn't actually try to make Cody make up with Sierra since he has other teammates. He would just leave and would go with Tyler, Noah, and Owen. Alejandro would manipulate the situation to try and get Sierra as an ally, I think. DJ still destroys his team statue, and because there's 3 of them, they get mad and vote him off. That just is like something to redeem yourself from having destroyed a team statue. So DJ's gone here. And episode 10 is the Kiss a Fish episode. So they all race to the end. And Courtney drives her team. Team Chris gets to the end fine. And nobody's with anybody because everyone has a team, but it's not an elimination. 11. Izzy still jumps out the plane while it's crashing. That's important. Gwen gets HQ'd by the eels, which leaves Courtney and Ezekiel to do the surfing part of the challenge. Now, Harold we've seen as mad skills, Lindsay and Manitoba could definitely build off. Team Chris are definitely winning the challenge. So between these, Courtney and Ezekiel, and Harold, Lindsay, Manitoba, I think Team Victory will win this. But there's one small difference here that I'm going to exploit, and that is Izzy was on Team Amazon. So because Izzy was on Team Amazon in the original, unlike DJ, he didn't have Izzy as a teammate. Courtney can just mumble her way out of the situation, so there's no elimination. And it just saves the team for a bit longer. I think it's a bit unfair to vote another member of their team off, since she got medically evacuated. 12 Aftermath. Now, this is IC London, so this is where we met Duncan. And I'm going to put Duncan up here for a second because I'm going to explain where Duncan's going to go. So, Noah and Owen find Jack the Ripper. This would still work. And Courtney and Gwen find Duncan. Now, I don't agree with how this episode ends originally. Tiam's on when we at Duncan, Team Chrysalis when we Jack the Ripper. I'm going to honour this because Tiam's when we at Duncan. Duncan is second prize, so he's put on Team Chris. So Team Victory just lose. They've just lost. And Harold and Lindsay and Manitoba, who is the least connected? And I feel like Manitoba and Harold would have been friends throughout this season. And Harold and Lindsay get on, but they've never been seen to be friends. So I do think Manitoba would choose to get rid of Lindsay over Harold. And I think he would value Harold more than Lindsay. So I think Lindsay is eliminated here. And Harold's the only one that would have actually been very good in this challenge. So I think Tyler's pretty sad about that. But episode 14, Grease's Pieces. The kiss still happens between Gwen and Duncan. So it's Gwen, Duncan, and Harold. So I think Harold wins the challenge since Duncan and Gwen are too distracted over the song to win the challenge. The fighting challenge is a one-on-one, so it's two. So it's Manitoba, Owen because he volunteered for Tyler in the original, and now on the same since on the same team, and Courtney. So Courtney wins that fight. So that's 2 for Team Amazon because Gwen won the ball in the original. I don't think Harold will win the ball. So Courtney and Gwen win this 2 for Team Amazon. Now the hurdles competition is Ezekiel, Alejandro, and Harold. Now there's still a tiebreaker, so Team Amazon are definitely winning the challenge. So Cody does the tiebreaker, and Manitoba, and when Tyler reveals the kiss. So when Tyler hears about the kiss, Cody hears about the kiss, he originally wins to save Gwen, but now him and Duncan on the same team, he wants to get rid of Duncan. Everyone votes for Duncan. Chris keeps this as a non-elimination to save Duncan. Episode 15 is the X-Files. Now, Ezekiel is the only person who's trying on his team. Since Gwen's trying, Courtney's throwing challenges. Cody and Sarah run away with the clone. Noah and Owen are together, and Owen gets lost. Like in the original, Noah's trying to find him. Alan and Tyler get attacked by aliens. And Manitoba and Harold are just searching somewhere around the area, trying to survive challenges. Duncan finds Alejandro and Tyler in this state and makes the deal with Alejandro that he'll get the alien off if he does him a favor later on. They accept. Alejandro gets flying in the control panel. Owen comes by with Noah saving the rest of his team. Now, Tyler and Duncan carry Owen and Alejandro. Noah would carry the alien box because he'd be smart enough not to let Tyler carry it, so Tyler doesn't screw up here. Courtney actually wins the challenge, so Team Victory lose. And a tiebreak between Manitoba and Harold. I'd have to give the win to is the fashion tiebreaker, and I think Manitoba could beat Harold in that tiebreaker. Episode 16, so I think it's kind of cool. Harold made it to like episode 15. 16 is the episode where they have to ride the goose, right? So Courtney's still throwing, and Cody gets thrown a hyena by Duncan. Now, obviously, Sierra is protecting Cody, so Duncan can't really do that. Courtney still throws the challenge here, and they lose. Everybody else loses. So, and I think, to be honest, it's clearly Courtney. Gwen and Courtney off each other. Ezekiel's the swing vote. I think he votes for Courtney because of season 1. So Courtney is actually gone here. And episode 17 is rebuild Gwen's face. Now, obviously, Gwen's still in the game, but they have to build a boat. So, because we have two extra characters, I'm going to make this episode elimination. So, Team Chris win, and I think Team Amazon win as well. Unfortunately for Manitoba, he loses, and he gets voted off in this episode. Now, Blanley still rejoins, and we are the merge. Now, the only difference in this merge, we have Noah and Ezekiel. Now, we have an extra person here because we didn't get anyone voted off. So I had to make episode 17 an elimination. Now, in future, I'll do episode 8 and 14 because I think they're good elimination episodes. But episode 19 is the tightrope. So Cody and Sierra, Blanley and Owen, Alejandro and Gwen, Noah and Duncan. Well, Duncan and Tyler, which leaves Noah and Ezekiel. Noah and Ezekiel both fail. Alejandro is a good point. There's a time it's been a major threat at this point, so he fails. Owen and Blanley fail with Sierra and Cody, which leaves Duncan and Tyler to win. Now, Duncan is probably carrying Tyler because I can't imagine Tyler carrying Duncan, since I think Duncan would just threaten Tyler. So I think Tyler and Duncan win this challenge. They have immunity. Now, Alejandro wants to get rid of Noah, but Blanley points out Owen is the fan favourite. So everyone is still forced to vote him off. In episode 20, we have Chinese fake-outs. This is the eating portion. Now, everybody qualifies to the second round. Alan will be out first because he's not that cheap for Courtney. Tyler's never been seen eating challenge, so he fails. Blanley's still cheating, and that's important. Cody would fail. Duncan's pretty good in Gwen. Ezekiel ate disgustingly of rat's cheese, so it's down to Ezekiel and Gwen. Noah is pretty good in Murdoch's race because he was sold noodles. Probably not the fastest eater, but could get to the final 6 meal because competition. Now, it's whether or not I think it's more impressive for eating rat's cheese having mutated or Gwen. I think Ezekiel wins this challenge so easily. When you consider the fact he was feral and ate rat's cheese in World War, he definitely wins the challenge here. Now, yes, he's more human, but I think Ezekiel would still be able to win this challenge. So, now, Duncan and Gwen are going to vote for Blanley. Alejandro counters because he has Tyler, Duncan, Gwen, and he gets him vote for Noah because Alejandro doesn't like Noah. And he wants him out because he called him out, and I feel he's wanted him out for some time, but Noah's done quite well for himself. Noah gets Cody and Sierra. Well, Sierra is with Alejandro. But now that Alejandro's Tyler, he doesn't really need Sierra, so Noah convinces Cody and Sierra to vote for Alejandro. These 4 vote for Noah. And these 4 vote for Blanley. And Blanley votes for Ezekiel. So I think Blanley and Noah, because of the love drama, Cody would want to get rid of Duncan. So I think Blanley and Duncan are actually sent home in this episode. I think these 2 are the ones. Well, but yeah. Alejandro, Blanley, and Noah are both sent home. So episode 21 is where Feral Ezekiel. So we don't have Feral Ezekiel, but Alejandro plans to trip Duncan the same way how he does in the original by sending him with Thornbush and Warren Ezekiel. Now, actually, no, they vote for Duncan. So Alejandro wins the challenge and trips Tyler. So he wins the challenge like normal. And he convinces Ezekiel to vote for vote for Noah. Cody, Gwen, Sierra votes for Gwen. Cody is with Noah. So he votes. Alejandro wins it. These two vote for Tyler. Gwen votes for Tyler for ratting them out. I guess. I don't know why Gwen would do that, but she votes Tyler. Alejandro convinces Tyler, Sierra, and Ezekiel to vote for Noah. Because he makes a deal next time they'll elimination, they'll vote rid of Gwen. So he gets rid of Ezekiel. He gets rid of Gwen, right? To gain Sierra's loyalty to vote off Noah, he votes off Gwen. Episode 22 is Rafa Fooey. So Alejandro races to the top. He dodges the borders like it is originally. He does get there first, not to one faithful. So Alejandro Tyler races to the top. Noah is convinced Cody, and he's trying to convince Sierra, but Sierra is chasing Cody, and the only person he can really go to is Ezekiel, because Ezekiel is kind of an outsider. And Noah talks with Ezekiel because he knows that Alejandro and Tyler are just a massive threat to her. So he says we need to vote one of them out. And Alejandro and Tyler win immunity. Since Alejandro can give somebody immunity, him and Tyler have immunity. So in tonight's vote, Sierra votes for Noah, and Cody votes for Sierra. Noah votes Sierra. Ezekiel votes for Noah. So I think Noah's out here because I think Alejandro would convince Ezekiel, and Ezekiel would know that Noah's just the biggest threat. So episode 23 is Drumheller. Now, to be honest, Drumheller, everyone makes their statues. So Alejandro wins the challenge. Alejandro does well. Tyler does terrible. Sierra does okay. Cody does grand, and Ezekiel does terrible as well. Now Alejandro finds a barrel really early on there, strapped by Heather. Now Heather's not there. I think with the equipment he would just do the challenge faster. So Alejandro wins the challenge. So Alejandro and Tyler vote Sierra. Cody and Ezekiel also vote for Sierra. Now she still builds up the plane, so she ends up getting eliminated. And in episode 24 is the race to Hawaii. Now, granted, because we have 4 people rather than 3, this will actually be an elimination episode. 24 is an elimination. Episode 25 will actually be an elimination. It'll be similar to All Stars, where they're going to pick in the finale who they want. So Alejandro retires at the end, and Cody gave up because he faced Alejandro and Sierra and Heather. So because Cody gave up, I have to think Cody would come fourth in this race. Now, Alejandro wins the challenge so easily against Tyler and Ezekiel. And obviously Alejandro is taking Ezekiel over Tyler, since Ezekiel is just an easier opponent. And he's just easier to face in the finale. But I think Tyler will be annoyed at Alejandro for picking Ezekiel, but there's nothing he can really do. And to be honest, they're helpers. Alejandro would pick Heather, and I think Courtney because they're good players. And Ezekiel picks Gwen for being the last member of her team. And I think he probably picks Izzy because Izzy's the only other member on his team. And yeah, peace and farewell.